I have started reading How to Succeed in Witchcraft by Aislinn Brophy. I'm at page 51, chapter 6. It's interesting because the world feels like Harry Potter. It feels like it's set in the real world, but like there's magic. But it's weird because I don't understand whether magic is hidden away from like regular people or the world knows that they're magical people. But I'm loving kind of the world building where there's like magic licensing universities, like how we'd have Ivy League and HBCU schools. There's still like hardships and struggles like our regular world is. They're magical people, but they're like poor. They're still dealing with the prejudices and discriminations that we deal with in this world, but there is one woman, she's magical, and she's still dealing with like sexism and possibly racism in the process. And there's like discussions of race and stuff like that in the world building. It's interesting. I'm liking what's going on. I'm excited about reading this. I'm really getting into it. We have a sapphic lead, a lesbian, if you will. I feel like we're at like a pre-inciting incident, right before the big inciting incident. I thought it was going a particular way, like a sexual assault kind of way, and I'm glad it's not going there, because I mean the tone could get a little darker than it needs to be, or I feel like it could go with. And I like that the font is like not too big, but it's not too small. Here's what the font looks like. I think that's helping my engagement because I feel like that assists in how my brain works. When the font is a little bit smaller, although it helps with how the book is printed and pressed and all that stuff, I do think a slightly bigger print, although it might seem a little bit more juvenile, it does help in the process of reading because it just makes me being able to comprehend what I'm reading and stay engaged a lot better. So far in reading this book, I did feel like the first person voice of, I believe her name is Shayna. At first it felt a little annoying to me because I'm like, she would say certain things that were just like, she's talking about cringe in this book, and I was like, girl, you making me cringe with some of the things that you're saying. I guess it's the way that some people talk. It's the way how some teenagers talk. I also do think I know who her love interest is gonna be. I think this is gonna be like enemies to lovers or like competitors to lovers kind of thing. We'll see how the romance develops over there. Let's see if this next inciting incident shows up. I am 222 pages into this book. I am at chapter 23. Child, I don't know how I feel about this book. I don't hate it, but I'm also not like loving it. I love the world building. How I describe it is like it's contemporary, but it's also magical. It's not magical realism, but it's like a contemporary fantasy because there's like magic technology, there's like cell phones and stuff like that integrated with like magic. But my only thing about the world building is it a world where it's like Harry Potter where there are humans and there are witches and it's like magic in plain sight, or you know, like you go through 9 3/4 to get to the Hogwarts train? Or is it a world where there's like some people have magic and some people don't, some people are human and some people are witches? Like, is it that kind of world? Or is it like everybody is magical, everybody knows how to do magic, but they do different kinds of magic, but it's just a contemporary world like ours? So like I'm confused about that part. Besides that, I'm enjoying the world building for that. Like I don't think I've ever read a story where you're kind of living a regular everyday world life and magic is a part of your life. The school you go to, it's like regular high school, but like you do magical things at high school. You learn about potions. Like the SATs are actually like a magic aptitude test. You have to be tested on your magic and your skill level of magic, but there's also academics, and like your secondary like college education is like advancing your magical abilities. I'm assuming it's the world is all magic and everything is magical, but it's like our contemporary world, but with like everybody knows how to do magic. I'm loving those aspects of the world building, but besides that, like I feel like I'm 200 and some pages in, and I feel like there hasn't been a major inciting incident. There have been like little moments that feel like a thing that happens, but nothing really deep is happening. our lead character, Shay, she joined the school play because that's gonna help her get a scholarship to go to like college. The teacher that is the drama teacher that is putting on this play, he's been kind of covertly inappropriate with like students. Stuff is happening, but there's not like a big inciting incident. I think that is a thing with contemporary stories, especially more suburban contemporary stories. Not a lot usually happens, or everything is just a little bit more slice of life, laid back, standard. We go to school, we're studying. We might be a part of the school play kind of thing, but it's not necessarily a lot going on, like not big adventures. And you would think big, outrageous, interesting things would happen because it's like magical, but it's like not. And this book, I don't hate it. It's likable, but I also feel like let's get to the point already, because I just went through a chapter where it involved a conversation and it involved going to go study at a library, and they went to study and they had a conversation, and then all of a sudden we're talking about like Shay's frizzy hair, and then Shay's mother liking Shay's hair to be straighter, but Shay's mother is black because Shay's mixed race and her daddy's white. And I'm just kind of like, how your black mama don't know how to do your hair in more natural hairstyles, at least, not necessarily just always straight. But then again, everybody's different. Black people ain't all a monolith. All black people won't know, all black women won't all know how to like do their daughter's hair a particular way. But I feel like more than a few black women would know how to do their own, even biracial daughter's hair. They would know how to handle it and not just have to straighten it, whether it's with a flat iron or with relaxer. It's just like, we not just gonna straighten your hair all the time. That was kind of like ridiculous to me, but everybody's mom is different. But it's weird because it's like, it's a black mama and she don't know how to handle your hair. This sounds like a white mama of a biracial child's issue. But fine, girl, fine. I've come to the realization that there are black women in interracial relationships with biracial children who kind of come across a little like white women in biracial relationships. I'm watching Married at First Sight, the Nashville season. The girl Dom on there, she's biracial. Her mama black, but her mama's giving me like, I only hang around white people. I feel like there are some black moms who are just like, they don't spend a lot of time around black people, so they just don't have a lot of the connection, education, practices. It's almost like a white woman taking care of a biracial or black child's hair. Like you just don't got it. Aside from that, I do love, like, at the beginning of the chapters, there are little moments, like, excerpts from, like, news articles, textbooks, pamphlets, little excerpts of different things within the universe that build out the world. They talk about magical tech corporations. They talk about cults and different countercultures within the society. So I like those little aspects within the story. I would be interested in reading like a companion or a follow-up that kind of explores the world a little bit more, with another story maybe following Shay and Anna as they go to college or they start working in the everyday working world. You kind of just see the world a lot more. It's making me think of like just a fantasy version of Warcross. I would love to read that. Just, you know, just kind of go on more of an adventure, more of just an experience that's not just like everyday, regular, a little bit mundane. I want a little bit of excitement, some fun, some adventure, some mystery, some thrill. Like, I want that. Like, I never thought I would be that girl, but I am that girl now. We'll see what else happens in this book. I've completed How to Succeed in Witchcraft by Aislinn Brophy. I enjoyed the world building. I thought the characters were still very likable. The romance wasn't too obnoxious. Like, it wasn't like high speed roller coaster. There was like a nice little slow burn to it. The stakes weren't high enough for a significant portion of the book. Shay, she was very passive. She kind of just went along with things. And I guess maybe as a teenager, sometimes the kind of teenager you are, the kind of personality you are, you might just go along with a lot of things that you may not feel comfortable with, may not agree with, until you get to a point where you just say, I have to take some action. And she did do that at the end of the book. She took action. I felt like her action could have been a little bit bigger, a little bit more stabbier, jabbier, a little more hardcore. But I understand. I like how she handled the drama teacher, and I would have liked that we can explore this world again in another book, but with more stakes, more drama, more like exploring the world and really experiencing like what it's like to live, really be a part of this world. I've come to the realization that this world is pretty much like everybody knows how to do magic, some form of magic. Magic with your hands is different levels of magic. They even reference like things that we have in our world, like they have McDonald's. I think there was Starbucks I also mentioned, because there was like a lot of like getting coffee. They reference Madam C.J. Walker in here, and she was a potion maker. It was good. I just felt like it could have been a little bit more amped up. A little bit more could have gone into it to make it like a little bit more action-packed and juicy. I do feel like because it could have had more action to it, a lot of the pages could have been cut down and kind of like let us go through this book a little faster. But I'm glad I read this. Thank you for spending your time with me. And I am out this bitch like Fleek. Shout out to Peaches. Thank you, girl.